Hello everyone, I invite you to every Wednesday cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC to USDT pair, taking into account the 4-hour time frame. First, using the yellow line, we will determine a strong upward trend line above which the price is making dynamic upward movements. Looking at the current situation and the huge pre-halving increases, which are currently much larger than in the previous booms, however, we have not seen BTC ETFs and such great interest from institutions before. In this situation, we will unfold the trend-based fib extension grid, thanks to which we can mark a very strong resistance zone from $61,896 to $64,953, which temporarily stopped the BTC price from further increases. However, when the price breaks out of this zone, we can see a dynamic increase, quickly passing the last ATH to the level of $74,000. Looking the other way, it is worth defining supports in a similar way, because in each cycle in the pre-halving period, we could see a correction of several or even several dozen %. And here you can see a significant support zone from $60,113 to $57,704. Then it is worth keeping in mind the area of $53,639. In a situation of such dynamic declines, we could see the price return even to around $47,000. As we can see on the RSI indicator, we are well above the upper limit, at which the price often reversed. The situation is similar on the stock indicator, which remains near the upper limit. Secondly, we will check the MATIC chart in the USDT pair, just like its predecessor, on a 4-hour time frame. First, we will use blue lines to mark the upward trend channel in which we could observe an attempt to break the price down, but as it turned out, it was a false break, after which the price returned to the channel and started dynamic growth, creating an upward trend line along which moves. Moving on, we can move on to marking the resistance points. And here, as the first one, we have a strong resistance zone from $1.01 to $1.09, which is the place of the last price hill, and the current place of struggle. When the price breaks out of this zone, it may result in a quick move towards the resistance at $1.34. Looking the other way, we will determine support areas, and here we can determine the first support at 93 cents, then the second support at 83 cents, and then the third at 77 cents. After turning on the EMA cross 10 and 30 indicator, we can see how they continue to indicate that the current uptrend is continuing. Please look at the RSI indicator, because despite the increases, there is room for a potential further upward movement. While when you look at the stock indicator, you can see a movement above the upper limit, which often leads to a reduction in growth or a correction. Third, we will check the LTC chart on a one-day time frame. Let's start by defining the upward trend channel with the yellow lines, from which the price broke out at the bottom, but here we did not see a dynamic correction, only a movement under the lower edge of the channel. Let's start by marking support points for the price, and we can see that first of all we have strong support which currently holds the price at $69. But if the price drops lower, we have another strong support at $56. And then we can see that the price has more room for a drop to around $40, which is unlikely. Looking the other way, we can similarly determine the resistance areas that the price must face. And here we see that currently the price has been rejected by the resistance at the level of $76. Then we can see a strong move to around $98, and then we can see the resistance at the level of $114, which had previously successfully rejected the upward movement. On the RSI indicator, we can determine the downward trend line from which we moved upwards from the Mosage to a potential upward movement. While on the stock indicator, the upward movement ended with a dynamic recovery, which again gives room for growth. The last one in today's ranking is the chart of XRP in pair with USDT on a one-day time frame. Let's start by identifying the main upward trend in which the price is moving. However, since the last bull market, it is clear that we managed to come out on top from the downward trend line, and currently we are moving in a triangle, and we can see here the fight against the upper limit and that we are getting closer to leaving the triangle. Looking at a possible exit from the triangle upwards, we will use the fib retracement tool, thanks to which we can see a very important resistance at the level of 93 cents, from which the price bounced during the last upward movement. Then we may have an upward movement to the level of $1.33. Looking the other way, we see that the price has remained at the support level of 53 cents. But if the price goes below the indicated support, the next support is at 42 cents, and the third support is at 29 cents. When we turn on EMA cross 50 and 200, we can see a downward trend, but there is a visible movement of the yellow line EMA cross 50, which begins to reverse, which may give an upward trend again. The RSI indicator shows that there is still room for continued growth, while the stock indicator shows a movement that is approaching the upper limit, and when it exceeds it, it is worth being cautious in case of a correction. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.